Niyama Puro Vibhu Nirmaya Shete Yadamushu Purusha Mungte Gunan Shodash Shodash Shatmaka Solang Krisishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanayatam Katha Amritam Satatapi Vatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panthanam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam. I think Vinod Prabhu, you are okay to recite the first verse?
Yes, Prabhu, I'll do it.
Thank
Naumidyate bhravapashu taditambaraya gunjavatamsa paripichala sanmukhaya vanyashraje kavalavetra vishana venu lakshmashriye mrudupade pashupankajaya.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Would you like to say something?
I think most of them have said most of the realizations, Prabhu. Only one thing that I could realize was if I compare to the materialist.
Sorry,
If
Prabhu.
you yeah, only thing that I could compare is if I compare to the materialistic world, if a boss is being insulted, he would take a harsh interpretation. He will subordinate will have a harsh interpretation. But in this instance, Krishna was so believed he did in a subtle way of showing him his power. Um, uh, he could have done in a different way, but he showed him in a subtle way. And Brahma was also quite understanding in terms of the subtleness, and that he could read it between the lines that what Krishna was trying to tell him in a subtle way. Probably that maybe to understand how Krishna is elevated in terms of showing his devotees not in a harsh way but in a subtle way.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. So yes, so from this pastime, we get to understand that Krishna actually did not chastise Lord Brahma. Although for one whole year, Brahmaji had stolen the cowherd boys and the calves. But Krishna was rather oblivious to Lord Brahma's behavior. So this is one of the qualities of the Lord. The Lord is really unaffected by whatever is happening around him, because the innate nature of the Lord, as in one of the verses we are looking, is his swasukha, meaning the happiness is within him. Even if Krishna wants to be miserable, he cannot be miserable because that's just not his nature. Sugarcane has sweetness in it. It cannot have bitterness. And even if sugarcane wants to have bitterness, there is no way it can have bitterness. Similarly, Krishna is 7% Anandamaya Chinmay. He is full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And this quality cannot be changed at all. So at the end, if anyone wants to volunteer to recite tomorrow, please let me know. So the ways that we were doing, I think the purport of the verse is still to be recited. Is it text number 7 or 6?
6, Prabhu.
6. Yeah. So I'll just read the translation of this verse. Non-devote. So everyone, so we're studying 10th canto, 14th chapter, text number 6. Non-devotees, however, cannot realize you in your full personal feature. Nevertheless, it may be possible for them to realize your expansion as the impersonal supreme by cultivating direct perception of self within the heart. But they can do this only by purifying their mind, senses of all conceptions of material distinctions and all attachment to material sense objects. Only in this way will your impersonal feature manifest itself to them. Would anyone like to read the paper?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. Purport by His Divine Grace, Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is difficult for conditioned souls to understand all the transcendental features of the Supreme Lord. As confirmed in the first canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam 1.2.11, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan iti Shabdyate. The transcendental existence of God is understood progressively as the impersonal effulgence, the localized supersoul in one's heart, and finally the Supreme Personality of Godhead existing in his eternal abode. Lord Krishna's transcendental existence is beyond the qualities of material nature. Thus, here, the Lord is referred as agunasya, without material qualities. Even by practicing yoga or engaging in advanced philosophical speculation, one will find it very difficult to understand clearly the transcendental existence beyond the modes of material nature. And these processes are virtually useless for understanding the Lord's own unlimited transcendental qualities, which are far beyond the impersonal conception of spiritual existence. Only by the mercy of the pure devotees of the Lord, or by associating with the Lord Himself, can one begin the process of realizing the personal feature of God, a process that culminates in pure Krishna consciousness, the final and supreme perfection of knowledge. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. We can't hear you, Prabhuji.
Sorry. So let's look at word to word. Tatha api, nevertheless. Bhuman, all limitless one. Mahima, the potency. Agunasya, of whom, who has no material qualities. So here, the word is very significant, is agunasya. So generally, when this word comes, people, especially the Mayavadis, conclude that the Lord has no qualities. But the Lord has quality. His quality is of Sat, Chit, and Anand, and this is spiritual quality. But when it is said agunasya, it is taken that the Lord does not have any material qualities, because three guna, the three modes of material nature, are material. So the Lord is not subjugated to any material imperfections. Te, of you, vibodhum, to understand, arhati, one is able, amala, spotless, antaha, atmabhihi, with mind and senses, avikriyat, not based on material differentiations, sva anubhavat, by perfection of the Supreme Soul, arupataha, without attachment to material forms, he indeed, ananyabodha atmataya, as self-manifested, without the help of any other illuminating agent, na, not, cha, and anyatha, otherwise. So here we see in the translation that when the full personal feature of the Lord cannot be understood by non-devotees, and specifically those who actually are non-devotees, then they can approach the Supreme Lord. Here it is mentioned by the impersonal feature, cultivating direct perception of the self within the heart. Now, in the 12th chapter of Srīmad Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks this question, that, O Krishna, of the two kinds of persons who worship you, who is much better placed? So Krishna, he answers immediately without any delay, Mayavesha manoye mam, those who are fixing their mind on me, my personal feature, and in this way, nitya yukta upasate, they are worshipping me perpetually, shraddhayaha, with faith, and with a transcendental approach, paryopetaha, te me yuktatama mataha. He says that they are yuktatama, means most perfect. And that is mataha, that is my mat, that is my conclusion. And then he goes on to explain that those who are Mayavadis or don't believe in the personal feature of the Lord, how they can approach Krishna. So he says, Yetvaksharam, which is beyond the perception of senses, Anirdeshyam, which is indefinite, Avyaktam, which is unmanifested, Parupasate, they completely engage in such activities. Sarvatragam, the all-pervading personal feature of the Lord. Achintyam, but it is inconceivable. Cha, also. Kutastham, in the center. Achalam, immovable. Dhruvam, fixed. Sanniyam Indriya Gramam, they are controlling, trying very hard to control their senses. Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha, they are trying to be equally disposed in all situations, not trying to get angry. Te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hiterataha. He says that in the end, these people at last achieve me. But then in the next verse, he goes on to say, however, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, klesho dhikataras desham avyakta sakta chetasam. For them, avyakta hi katir dukkham, advancement is very, very troublesome. Avyakta hi katir dukkham, the word he uses is katir dukkham. Why? Because they havadbhir avapyate, because they themselves are embodied. And they do not realize that the Supreme Lord is embodied. Now, a very simple example, we can see that at the Pran Pratishtha of Lord Sri Ram in Ayodhya, none of the Sankacharyas went. Why did any one of them did not go? There are 4 acharyas in all different directions. Well, I'm not surprised, because the Lord having a personal form, they cannot fathom it. Therefore, as per their understanding, they actually did not consider it important to go. But for the devotees of the Lord, no, even the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord is same as the Lord. So with all reverence and devotion, the devotees will go. And I know even in Brisbane, for next year's Yatra, devotees are already planning a trip to go to Ayodhya as one of the Tirthasthans to have the audience of their lordships. But imagine that the 4 Shankracharyas, they were specifically invited for this occasion, given the VIP, treatment and seats, but still they refused to go. And it could have been very easy for them to go. But why did they refuse? Because they considered the Lord to have no form, therefore avyakta katir dukkham. Even if they went to the ceremony, they cannot comprehend, they regard the form of the Lord as illusion. So for them, advancement is very, very difficult. Any questions or comments, Prabhu's Mataji's? Okay, we'll move on to the next verse. Text number 7. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Gunatmanaste gunan vimatum hitva vatirnasya Isharesya Kalena Yairvai Vimata Sukalpai Bhupam Shavake Mihika Dubhash Saha. Translation: in time, learned philosophers or scientists may be able to count all the atoms of the earth, the particles of snow, or perhaps even the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars, and other luminaries. But among these learned men, who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have descended onto the surface of earth for the benefit of all living entities? Now, see the beauty of this verse. Now, in the previous verse, the Lord Brahma uses the term agunasya. Yes, mahima gunasyate. So mahima, the potency, agunasya, of who has no material qualities. So the Mayavadis would say, see, he has no qualities, he is agunasya. Their translation would be like that. However, in the very next verse, Brahmaji says, no, gunat manaste api gunan vimatum. You have qualities. It is just that those qualities are not material, they are transcendental. So this is how the Vaishnavas actually read and understand the philosophy. So guna atmanaha, word to word, of the possessor of all superior qualities. So when we have gunatmanaha, and we know he's the possessor of all superior qualities, that naturally by logic means that when he's said to be agunasya, that means that all those qualities that he possesses are not material. That's when agunasya is to be translated as not material. But he is gunatmanaha, of the possessor of superior qualities. They, you, so Lord Brahma is addressing Krishna, api, certainly, gunan, the qualities, vimatum, to count, hita avatirnasya, who have descended for the benefit of all living entities. So Krishna, this word is very nice. So these kind of words, we should write it down. Hita avatirnasya. Hita means benefit. For whose benefit? For our benefit. Avatirnasya, Krishna has descended on this earth. So whatever Krishna does, it is for our hita. And this is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kunti Maharani very nicely in her prayer says that what benefit is there for the people in general when the Lord descends on this earth? She says, Bhavesmin klishyamananam vidya kama karmibhi, that we who are suffering in this cycle of birth and death, bhavisye klishyamananam. Why are we suffering? Because of three things. Avidya, we don't know the real knowledge that Krishna is Lord and we are his servant. Second reason, kama. We have lust to exploit the resources of material nature. And third reasons, karma bihi. We directly being impelled by our lustful propensities, we just try to exploit the resources of material nature, and therefore suffering comes about due to these three reasons, avidya, kama, karma bihi. However, in the third line, Kunti Maharani says, Shravanaha smaranaharani karishyanniti kechana. But somehow or the other, if we hear Shravanaha and Smaranaha, remember, Shravanaha, Smarana, Arhani, and worship Krishna, then we can get out of the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. Therefore, him coming in this material world to enact his wonderful pastime is for the purpose of hita avatirnasya, for the benefit of living entities, so that when we hear his pastimes, qualities, and attributes, we can deliver ourselves through this process of devotional service. Ke, who Ishire are able, Asya of the universe, Kalena, in due course of time, Yahi, by whom Va or Vimitaha counted, Sukalpahi, by greatest scientists, Bhu Pam Shavaha, the atoms of the earthly planet, K in the sky, Mahikaha, the particles of snow, Dhyubhasaha, the illumination of the stars and planets. So, Lord Brahmaji is using a metaphor here. Who can count the particles on the planet Earth? Who can count all the atoms on this planet Earth? Who can count the particles of the snow? And who can count the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars, and moon, and so on? Counting all these may be possible. However, counting the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by Krishna is not possible, because it is beyond the wildest of capacities of any individual living entity. Brahmaji is the most intelligent living personality, and yet he cannot fathom the transcendental qualities of Krishna. Brahmaji actually perhaps can count the molecules of the sun, the particles of the Earth planet, because he is the material engineer of the Earth planet. But yet he cannot comprehend the unlimited, sublime, and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Would anyone like to read the paper, please?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Srila Sanatan Goswami explains that Lord Krishna is Gunatma, the soul of all superior qualities, because he gives them life. For example, one may discuss in an abstract way such qualities as generosity, intelligence, and mercy, but they come to life only when a living person exhibits them. Thus, Lord Krishna is Gunatma because he descends to the material world and re-establishes religious principles by exhibiting all godly qualities himself and inspiring them in others. A living entity who develops the transcendental qualities found in the Lord receives immeasurable benefit and eventually goes with the Lord back to his own abode, where all living beings are liberated and fully endowed with the transcendental nature. Srila Sanatan Goswami further explains that the Lord manifests a specific spiritual quality for the benefit of each living entity. Since there are innumerable living entities within the confines of the material creation, the Lord manifests infinite qualities. Thus, every conditioned soul can appreciate the Supreme Lord in a particular way. The example is given here that even if the most learned scholars could someday count the particles of earth, snow, and light, they would still fail to understand the qualities of the Lord. In this example, earth, snow, and light are progressively more subtle. Thus, it is to be understood that there is an increasing difficulty in counting their virtually infinite particles. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, great personalities like Lord Sankarsana actually have counted the number of atoms on the personality, as Sankarsana, who has been continuously chanting the glories of the Lord since time immemorial, has not even approached a final count of those glories. Lord Krishna exhibits his most astonishing qualities during his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan, where he steals butter from the cowherd ladies, dances with his girlfriends, and plays with his cowherd boys boyfriends as their most dear companion. Although appearing like ordinary human activities, such sublime pastimes embody Lord Krishna's immeasurable and innumerable beautiful transcendental qualities, which are the life and soul of the pure devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So in Bhakya Bihari Savaya, there's a nice stanza where it is said, Shesha Mahesha Suresha Dinesha Surese Hujehu Nirantaridhyave. Here it is mentioned in the paper that Lord Shankarshana Shesha has unlimited hoods, and with his unlimited hoods, he is chanting the unlimited glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yet he cannot completely glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna. So in similar way, Shesha, along with Suresha, Indra, Dinesha, the sun god, Mahesha, Lord Shiva, Suresehu, all the demigods, Nirantar Dhyave, they are continuously glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Jahi Anadi Ananta Akhanda Abheda Acheda Suveda Bhakani. In the Vedas describe the Supreme Lord with all these qualities, Anadi, one without second, Akhanda, one who cannot be, khandit, mean broken, Abheda, who cannot be distinguished from his creation, and so on. That same Supreme Personality of Godhead is made to dance. Jahi ahir ki chohriya chachiya bach chachape nach nachave. That same Supreme Lord Krishna, chachiya bharchach means, when you put your two palms together and you put water in it, and so how much water can fit in that? That is called chachiyava. So the gopis would say to Krishna, "Oh Krishna, please, just dance and swing your your waist around and dance for us, and we will give you some buttermilk, chachiyava chach it is called, and due to devotion of the gopis, that Supreme Lord, who has unlimited qualities, dances for the pleasure of gopis. And so this shows that only through the process of devotional service, that Krishna actually comes under the control of the love of his pure devotee. Any other processes will fall short, and in fact cause frustration in the due course. So thank you for your time, Prabhu's Matajis, and we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow's verse is very significant. Prabhupada quoted this verse many, many times, and it's a very practical verse for us. So if you all can meditate on text number 8, try to memorize this verse as well. It will be very nice. Grantraj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day, and Krishna willing, see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.